gotta go. I'll get my car. I brought mine. Yours. I gotta get me one of those.
Welcome to another episode of Bat Dance Discussions. We have a great show today, a lot to talk about. But before I bring on my guest, I just have a quick PSA. I have a cold. I've had a cold this week, and I'm a little congested right now. Normally, I would not do a show while having a cold, but unfortunately, it's been a while since I've done content, so yeah, we're just gonna deal with this today, and hopefully you won't notice. And if you only notice because I brought it up, well, too bad. Sorry, too bad on my part then. So, what up, Mama Bear? Oh, jeez, I start streaming her sometimes. There we go, Mama Bear. Oh, Kozy. Interesting that you're in the chat right now. And Jamar. So, thank you, Jamar. So, I'm really excited to bring this guest on. This is a brand new guest for my channel. I've been on some great Twitter spaces with him, and we've had some great discussions on there. And I'm really happy to bring some of that energy to this channel. So, please welcome as I bring on Kozy. How are you, man?
What's up, man? Glad to be here, man. Glad you invited me on, man. Oh, I'm ready to have this conversation.
Well, then, let's get right to it. And what up, Frank C?
What's up, Mama Bear? What's up, Jamar? What's up, Frank C? Shout out to everybody in the chat or that's watching right now.
Yep, shout out to the live chat and the replay crew.
Oh, yeah, shout out to the replay crew.
Yeah, because I'll be honest, I think replay crew carries this channel a lot. So, but anyways, I want to show. So it's been a while, but a lot of times what I like to do is I like to show some of Zack Snyder's recent Instagram post, and I think it'll be very relevant to the conversation. So I don't remember the last post I stopped at, so I'm just going to go after the anniversary. So we'll go. We'll start with this one. So, oops, you effed up. And looks like that must be from his new movie. Last photograph. Ooh, Batfleck.
Oh.
And Rebel. Wait, is that? No, that's last photograph. I don't know why I thought that was Rebel Moon.
I'm so ready for the last photograph, man.
I am too, and I think it's really nice for Snyder because he got to do something that was kind of like something a little bit more low key after doing big projects like Zack Snyder's Justice League, Army of the Dead, Rebel Moon. That he gets to do something a little more Like a little simpler, not as chaotic.
I agree.
Army of the Dead, which, just for those of you who don't know, we need Planet of the Dead before Rebel Moon Part 3 and 4, I think, because Snyder says those worlds are connected.
Yeah.
The Trinity. Just Kozy, just look at that shot.
Yo, this is my favorite shot. I say this with every picture, like almost every picture he drops, but this is like my favorite out of everything he's dropped. This this looks so good, man.
And look who commented.
Wayne T. Carr. Oh,
Our
I didn't
Green
even see that.
Lantern.
I missed them. Yeah. Feel the same thing. I feel the same way, Wayne T. Carr. Feel the exact same way. Oh, man.
Oh, a painting shot. Look, another.
Man.
And Easter, the resurrection of, which I don't like to preach religion on this channel, but I'm just stating a fact that Easter is a holiday celebrating the resurrection of Jesus.
Right.
And it's just very parallel that Happy Easter, the resurrection of Superman, who is often compared to Jesus.
Yeah. And and real quick, if you go back to the other post, if you click on the arrow on the image, it'll show like the semblance of so like you have the death, death of Jesus, death of Superman, and then the next post is the the resurrection, which I found very cool that he did for both these posts.
Damn, nice catch.
Yeah.
And then yes, rest in peace to Zack Snyder's dad.
R.I.P.
And also, I am a Packers fan, so I live in Chicago, but I'm a Packers fan. But still, it's always hard to lose a loved one. Even if it's like expected, I still think it's always hard.
Yeah. It's like you don't want that person to like leave, even though it's like that time. So it's like, yeah.
And again, I don't know the whole circumstances of this, so I shouldn't completely say, but I'm just assuming on Zack Snyder's age. But still, it's always rough. It's always rough.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about this one later. Another last photograph photo. And make sure I don't want to be on this one too long just because it's a video and I don't want to be copyright stricken.
Oh yeah.
But a lot of DC posts in that picture.
Yeah, a lot of DC, and he had a sprinkle of Army of the Dead, and then the last photograph.
It's just kind of weird though that Zack Snyder posts all this DC if he's done with DC. Like, why is he doing this? Why you're done with DC, Zack Snyder? Why do you keep posting DC?
I mean, I think he's not done. I think he's like still, even if there is something or isn't something, I still think he's still advocating for, hey, there's still something here that's left unfinished that could be finished. So
yeah. Absolutely. And there's a photo that I want to talk about, but I think there's another part of this conversation we need to bring up first. So, there are a lot of concerns of whether this Warner Brothers acquisition will go through, and one of them is Paramount needs to get their funding, and it looks like they secured a big part of their funding with the Middle East. So let me share my screen again real quick. So Paramount Skydance confirms investments by Middle East wealth funds for Warner Brothers deal. Cites potential strategic and commercial opportunities with them. So they have a deal with Saudi Arabia, Abu Dhabi, and Qatar, which is really interesting. Abu Dhabi is a city, not a country. It's weird how they list country. Oh, is Qatar a country or a city? I should know this, but I don't.
I think Qatar is a. You know what? We have Google.
Yes.
That's why we have Google.
It is a country in West Asia. Okay. So it is a country, but it's just weird because Abu Dhabi is a city and they listed countries for the other ones. But anyways. So they secured on Tuesday, which to clarify the date of the article is, where did that go? April 7th. Okay, so the Tuesday before April 7th. Paramount Skydance on Tuesday confirmed it has brought on the sovereign wealth funds of Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and Abu Dhabi as investors in connection with its Warner Brothers Discovery takeover bid. So it believes the successful and equity syndication agreement with the trio of Middle Eastern funds, was Lion Tree, marks an important milestone in the Warner Brothers Discovery transaction process and the resulting diversification of its shareholder base. So we're not going to go through this whole article. I just wanted to highlight the main point that they secured the funding for the Middle East. So, Kozy, what is your thoughts on this?
I think this was expected. I think a lot of people knew that they're being backed by these foreign countries. I agree with you. I do find it strange that they added Saudi. Was it Abu Dhabi? You said
Abu Dhabi, yeah, the capital of the United Arabs.
Yeah, I found it weird. They listed a city in there with like you have two countries in the city, and it's like I don't know. I find that very interesting also. But everybody knew this was gonna happen, and I figured they were gonna get the funding, because, and I'm not gonna talk about because we're gonna get to it, but this already knew. This wasn't where my worry was in terms of if it was going to happen or not. It's my whole worry was something else, but I figured they were going to get the funding. And to me, I get that, there's different ways of funding in terms of like, buying stocks and all that. But I just still feel iffy that you have, like I said, we're going to talk about later on, but I just think it's kind of weird in the position Paramount is in to be borrowing money. In my eyes, at least how I see it, is they're borrowing money from these countries to help get WBD. So it just feels iffy and weird. It's because Paramount couldn't fund it. Yep, exactly, Jamar. Mm-hmm. They couldn't fund it themselves, so they had to go to another country to fund it for them.
Which you wonder, I mean, is that really good for your business? I mean, again, sure, you got Warner Brothers, but if you have to put yourself in major debt and have to pay debt to these foreign countries, is it worth it? Who knows? I mean, plus there's also the factor of this could potentially hurt this merger. I mean, I'm just saying, I mean, certain entities who approve this stuff, they may not be fond of this. So, I mean, I thought it was possible they might not get the funding just because of, without getting too far into this, just because of current events. But so I did have a little doubt that this might happen just because of the current events. But they did get it. So, I mean, just shows that, I mean, again, in my opinion, maybe they weren't in a position where they should have been buying it in the first place. So,
I agree.
I mean, but hey, Saudi Arabia is involved in this. So,
anyone wonder if this is going to go?
Yeah.
Going to last? Should it go through? That's my main last. Like, yeah, it's a great question.
And thank you, Mama Bear. Yes, hit the like button. But
oh yeah. There's 9 people watching, but 9 people watching, 5 likes. Come on, bro. We should at least have, if not 9, 8 likes. Like, hit that like button. Like, come on.
Thank you, Kozy. Yes, hit the like button. We should have 1 like for every person watching.
Exactly.
But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how this goes. And we'll talk about Paramount has a lot of hurdles to get through, guys. It's not a done deal.
Yep.
You said it for Netflix, so you have to say it for Paramount. That's all I'll say with that. But there is something with that. So I want to go back to one of the pictures from Zack Snyder. So here we go with Turki. such an amazing force in entertainment because they're doing the UFC movie together, right?
Right, correct. Doing
So
Brawler.
Yes, Brawler. So they're doing Brawler together. And so Zack Snyder has a working relationship with, with the Saudis, which, first of all, Brawler, I'll see it. Like, I'm not going to lie. I'm not a big UFC guy. I'll watch it for Zack Snyder, but it's not like a movie that I'm like, oh, yeah, I can't wait for it. It's I'll watch it because it's Snyder, but I'm not a big UFC guy. But, like, I guess, what's your thoughts on Brawler?
Me, I don't watch a lot of what's up, Sin? I don't watch a lot of UFC. I do like UFC movies, like okay, we're back. Warrior, Never Back Down. I think there was like 3 of them. I watched all 3 of them. Whatever the Kevin James movie was, and then there was like I don't know. I think it was also I think that was also another Never Back Down with Michael Jai White. But I like fighting movies. So when I heard that Zack's doing a UFC film, I was like, all right, cool. Like I'm in. Even especially seeing that scene in BVS where Bruce goes and like basically goes and grabs the information off of what's the guy's name?
Anatoly I can't pronounce it. The KG Beast.
Yeah, KG Beast. He went to go get the information off of KG Beast's phone, and you saw that short little, underground fight. I was like, all right, yeah, he could do it. He could do it. I'm in on it. So I'm not as excited for it as I am with the last photograph, but I am very interested in seeing it.
Yeah, same here. I'm like I said, I'm in it for Snyder, and I'll see it. But now this leaves a big question though. Hope for the SnyderVerse, because again, that's the big thing I hear. Zack Snyder has a working relationship with the Saudis. The Saudis seem to love Snyder, so could this help bring the SnyderVerse? Is this hope for the SnyderVerse? What's your thoughts, Kozy?
Okay. This might get into a little bit of what the other topics we have. I know a lot of people were like on the whole, the Turki guy and Zack have a good relationship, and he's working with the Saudis on this film, and they have a good work. And it's like, all right, cool. And then people are trying to say that, like, oh, because the Turki guy is gonna have some type of like, because the Saudis gonna have some type of like saying over, whatever IP. To me personally, I don't think it's as big as of a voice to Paramount, because of one, I think David Ellison has a big ego, just like James Gunn. And 2, I don't see it where it's like they can suggest it. I think that's the most you're gonna get from it if all this goes through, that they're gonna suggest, hey, you should probably bring back Zack. Zack brings in money, blah blah blah. But from what I saw from that merger ad with Paramount and WB, they slapped corn sweat on it compared to Netflix, which I know a lot of people don't like to hear. Oh, they keep bringing up Netflix. Netflix slapped the SnyderVerse on their merger ad. So they still haven't proved to me, hey, we want the SnyderVerse. We're gonna bring the SnyderVerse back. I haven't seen anything. We're going off of, like I've said before, hopes, and a wish that they're
Exactly. And I'll just go while I wait for you to come. Oh, you're back.
Yeah. So yeah. That's basically it. There's not a big percentage of them doing that. Now, I'm not saying there's no chance of them doing that, but from the debt they're about to take on, plus other others that they're funding before the SnyderVerse, on top of they have to owe money to back to these countries they're borrowing money from. I don't see it. I don't know. I don't see them doing that. But that's just me personally.
I mean, I agree. Like, I mean, here's the thing. Am I going to say it's impossible that this could be good for the SnyderVerse? No, I'm not going to say that it's impossible. But in terms of likelihood, here's what the thing that people need to remember. This is one guy from Saudi Arabia. Zack, like, the Saudi Arabia government are not a hive mind. Like any government, they're not a hive mind, right? Just because Zack Snyder has a good working relationship with some of them doesn't mean that the overall government entity is necessarily going to think the same way. So that's one thing you guys got to keep in mind with this. I mean, yes, Zack Snyder's posting some DC posts on Instagram. So obviously it's not done. The fight's not over yet. But I don't think that this, like, oh my God, Saudi Arabia works with, has a work relationship with Zack Snyder. SnyderVerse is secured. No. It is absolutely not a guaranteed thing. I mean, hey, guys, if this happens, believe me, we'll be the first ones celebrating. We will absolutely celebrate. But I have to go with what I think right now, not what I hope for right now. And I just do not think that Paramount is going to jump on bringing back the SnyderVerse. I don't think that just because the Saudi Arabia has a say. I mean, oh no, I'm not saying Saudi Arabia won't have a say.
That Sid's comments. $24 billion, bro. Like that's what I'm saying. Like, bro, like, all right, let's just be for real. Like, I'm not saying I wasn't, but let's be all the way for real. They're in debt, bro. I'm like, bro, before the SnyderVerse, I'm more worried about Michael Bay's Transformers movie before the SnyderVerse. And that should say a lot. If I'm worried about that, then how do you think I feel about the SnyderVerse? Like, it, like, and then I heard or I seen something about like they could potentially get rid of Gunn, but still keep Corn Sweat, Rachel Brosnahan, and the rest of them, and just change the tone. And it's like that still doesn't give me hope. Like I said, they have not come out and be like, oh, we're thinking about restoring the SnyderVerse, or there's rumors of David Ellison talking about SnyderVerse or talking to Zack himself. I have not heard a single thing. And once again, and I'm gonna let Bat Dan take the mic. People who are against Netflix love to ignore this fact. Who's in the fandom? They have promoted the SnyderVerse from the photo with the Harry Potter and 11 facing each other to even their video portion of the clip of Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and Cyborg landing, and it's the clip from ZSJL. That tells me way more, because I know a lot of people are like, oh, they keep bringing up Scott Stuber. Scott Stuber's not there no more. All right, cool. But they literally put it out on Front Street. Hey, we are interested. We're so interested here. Here's a clip from the SnyderVerse, and we'll put for the investors. But that's not enough. But everybody's okay with just believing Paramount's going to do it, and they have not shown a single hint of anything of the SnyderVerse. So I'm gonna say that. I relieve the mic.
Yeah, but it's what you said though. It kind of brings up a good saying: actions speak louder than words. So you can, it's nice that that you hear stuff all you want, but at the end of the day, I look at their actions. Netflix, when they were getting Warner Brothers, they promoted the SnyderVerse first and foremost. Paramount promoted Corn Sweat first and foremost. So I can't. So just because there's this Saudi relationship doesn't mean that Paramount's going to absolutely bring back the SnyderVerse. Sure, Zack Snyder. I mean, if Brawler does well, the Saudis might be like, hey, let's try to talk Paramount into finishing Zack Snyder's story. Is that possible? Absolutely. I'm not going to deny that it's possible. But in terms of what I think is more likely, I just don't think it's as likely. I mean, I just don't.
I'd even add on. I'd even add on. They didn't even promote Michael Bay's Optimus Prime. They promoted if I'm not mistaken, the one from the Beast movie, Rise of the Beast or something like that. So they didn't even promote the Optimus Prime from Michael Bay's movies. So if they didn't do that, like I'm just saying, like that alone should like tell you that, and plus Corn Sweat, that's, I'm not saying they don't have no interest, but there's not a big interest or a big like push, like me and Bat Dan said. There's like when Netflix got it, they're in the bid. They had the deal. The first thing that we saw, SnyderVerse. They didn't even like stutter. They didn't even think about it. They just went and did it. Paramount, nothing.
Exactly. So again, I still think Netflix is the best bet. I mean, we'll talk a little more about this later too, but I mean, I still think there's other aspects of this conversation besides just the SnyderVerse, but I think in terms of the SnyderVerse, I think Paramount is not as good as Netflix. I mean, Netflix was our best bet, honestly, and I mean, now we just have to hope for the best. It's not over, certainly not over, and Paramount could do it. Paramount absolutely could do it, but I'm just, in terms of who was more likely, that was just Netflix. Simple as that. So, but hey, at least we're not the only ones protesting this.
Yeah.
So,
oh my goodness, yo, yeah.
So let me just make sure this is the. Oh, okay, hold on. Let me just.
You do that. Shout out to DC Talk. We're gonna talk about the CinemaCon stuff soon. So I see your message. I'm gonna speak on what you're saying when we get to those topics, because yeah, that. Ooh, yeah, but yeah, this, oh my god,
yes, oh, absolutely. So
it says 1,000,
over
but then it jumped up to 2,000.
Hollywood bold-faced names. When was this article? Okay, well, I pulled this up from April 13th, so absolutely this could have jumped up to 2,000. So I mean, that's the thing. Information's always changing. So, but just the fact though, they released an open letter Monday morning expressing unequivocal. My God, I cannot talk. Unequivocal opposition to Paramount's mega deal to acquire Warner Brothers Discovery. So I guess you can see the full list of signatures here, but I mean, but yeah, we'll get to that.
Some big names, yeah.
But first, I want to get into like the actual context of the transaction would further consolidate an already concentrated media landscape, reducing competition at a moment when our industry and the audiences we serve can least afford it. The letter states, the result will be fewer opportunities for creators, fewer jobs across the production ecosystem, higher cost and less job choice for audiences in the United States and around the world. Alarmingly, this is the merger that would reduce the number of major U.S. film studios to just 4. This is what I've emphasized. This would reduce the number of major U.S. film studios to just 4. We are deeply concerned by indications of support for this merger that prioritizes the interests of small group of powerful stakeholders over the broader public good. The letter continues. The integrity, independence, and diversity of our industry would be grievously compromised. So, can you see the list right now?
No, it's still on the article.
Okay.
Oh, there we go.
Here we go. Yeah, I had it. So, let's see. Names that Alyssa Milano, I know her. I've heard the name Ben Stiller.
Bryan Cranston.
Oh, Bryan Cranston. Where?
Yeah,
There
next
we go.
right there. Yeah.
There's Walter White. So David Goyer.
Uh-oh.
Isn't this
Okay.
guy War
You're back.
Machine?
Don Cheadle. Yeah, he's War Machine. He was in the ocean movies. Yeah. Edward
The
Norton.
real Hulk.
The real Hulk. Denise. I always fuck up his last name. I was just talking to my homies about how to say his last name, and I don't even want to try to like say it because I'm gonna butcher it. But the Dune director, I hate saying it like that, but yeah.
I'm bad at name pronunciation too. And hey, Kozy, you ever played Kingdom Hearts?
Oh yeah, I love that game.
There's Sora right here.
Oh snap! You got Sora on the list. Wait, Bad Dan? Did you highlight the name next to Don Hudson? Well, there's two names next to Don Hudson, but the one, yeah, that one, the David Goyer.
Oh yeah, I highlighted David Goyer. Yes.
Goyer.
And then Elastigirl and the Senator.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh shit.
And I'm sorry, you were gonna say with David Goyer?
No, I was just saying, like, just to point out, like, you have the BVS, and wait, did he help write BVS, or was it? I know he did Man of Steel.
He actually, so he wrote BVS, and Chris Terrio rewrote some stuff, but he was one of the writers of BVS. Yes.
So you have the Man of Steel and BVS writer or co-writer on the list, and people still thinks this is like, but continue. We're gonna get to that after we go through this list.
So Elliot Page, I know her. J.J. Abrams.
Abrams, yeah. Javier Bardem.
Bobby Singer in both The Boys and Supernatural.
Yep. Jason Bateman, Joaquin Phoenix, Joe Russo.
Oh, I mean the director of one of the biggest Marvel movies coming out, and and more big Marvel movies.
Yeah.
Kevin Bacon.
Kristen Stewart.
And I am gonna kind of keep moving because I don't want to be here too long.
Nia DaCosta. She just did the Bone Temple, the 28 years later.
And The Mandalorian.
Oh. Jake Sully himself, Sam. I just want to say real quick, I find it hilarious. Sam Worthington is on the list, but James Cameron doubled down on what he said or his support for Paramount. I just find that ironically hilarious.
Well, you know what? Avatar is overrated, so.
And I agree to disagree, but I don't rock with what James Cameron's doing right now. So yeah.
And to clarify, I do actually think Avatar is overrated. I didn't just say that just because I don't like.
Oh no, I know.
Oh, but I think Tig, you know who that person is, right?
Oh yeah, she was the pilot. In Army of the Dead.
The one who replaced the other actor, and oh my god, this guy is one of the most real people ever. Trey Parker. If South Park is saying it's wrong, then it's wrong. I love South Park.
And Yvette Nicole Brown. Oh, she's a sweetheart. She's a sweetheart, and she's on the list.
Vince Gilligan, the Breaking Bad actor. Will Wheaton. He may have screwed over Sheldon, but... And, yeah, I'm not ending on this guy. I don't give a shit about this guy, but still, I mean, look at all these names, though. Look at all these names, because this is something I've said plenty of times. With Netflix didn't have theaters. They didn't have a theatrical model. So you weren't losing a major theatrical model. You were giving a major theatrical studio more funding, potential to grow. as its own thing. Because here's the thing. With Paramount, Warner Brothers will essentially become non-existent pretty soon. It will just be their IP will remain, but they're as a separate studio, not so much. Like 20th Century. I mean, how many 20th Century movies do we even get anymore?
That's a great question. Not a lot if we do get any.
I mean, I know the Simpsons movie, the sequel, is coming out next year, and they're doing another Ice Age movie. So I know there's some. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but
it's not a lot.
And plus, it's now on the Disney. It's on the Disney slate. So now it's again. It's. I mean, honestly, in hindsight, that one probably wasn't going to. Oh, that's interesting, Sin Havoc. Really interesting. So the fact that there's so many actors speaking out against this, and wait, hold on, is Rebel Moon Theory here?
Shout out to Rebel Moon Theory.
Shout out to Rebel Moon Theory. And I won't go too long about this because that would be for space-tastic discussions, but shout out on your recognition from Zack Snyder.
Big. There's something that you said I was gonna like harp on.
I was talking. Oh, Skywalker. What up, Skywalker?
Oh, what's up, Sky?
But I was talking about how with like we have one less theatrical studio right there, and maybe in hindsight, Fox and Disney, maybe that one shouldn't have happened.
Oh. The theater. So that's the funny thing. They slipped up. David Ellison slipped up. He said he was gonna merge them, and then when he saw the backlash, he then went and tried to reverse it and be like, "Oh, actually, guys, no, we're gonna keep it separate." And really, that's just code for, "Hey, I'm just gonna say this so y'all don't get on my butt." So, and then when we get it, we're gonna merge it. As where Netflix out the gate was like, "Nah, we're gonna keep Warner Brothers, let them keep distributing and putting out films, and we're gonna keep Netflix separate from each other." So they kept it straight up since the beginning. Whereas David was like, "Yeah, we're merging them." Oh, y'all are mad. Actually, psych. I'm just kidding, guys. We're not gonna separate him, even though he's already said he's gonna merge them and then get rid of HBO Max. So,
well, thanks for the shout out, Sky. We'll definitely be done by then.
Ooh, okay, yeah.
But
Sin Havoc said it right. He's merging them in 2028. Like he came out and revealed it too early.
Yeah, exactly. And that's this is what I've said. I have a lot more concerns for this merger, acquisition, whatever you want to call it, than just the SnyderVerse. To be honest, the SnyderVerse is one of the least of my concerns. I mean, while I have my doubts about it, I think there's a lot of ways it could still happen. I'm just not revealing it right now because I want to save that for a special Batman's thoughts I'm planning. But in terms of the industry, this is showing you have actors, a lot of good actors who are concerned about this. If this many actors are speaking out against it, maybe you need to.
It's not good. You have directors like, and it's not even just like, oh, some no name. No, you got like big name writers and directors.
Yes, and some of our SnyderVerse peeps involved too. Multiple SnyderVerse verses, not just the DC one. You even got the Rebel Army verse. So, and now we'll have now knockoff Hulk speaks out.
Oh yeah. I know a lot of people have their issues with Mark Ruffalo and all that, but the thing I do commend Mark Ruffalo the most about is he like cares about how like the industry for movies goes for cast and crew and for the audience. He's not just, doing this to make himself look good, which I like respect him in that regard if anything else.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm not the biggest Mark Ruffalo fan. I think I'll say it like this. I think whichever side of the aisle the actor is speaking out on, I'm not a big fan of them getting into politics. So that's whether they support the elephant or the donkey. I think it's not a great idea, and so I'm not the biggest fan of Mark Ruffalo for that reason.
Mhm.
But I do commend him for speaking out on this. So let me just share my screen again. So Mark Ruffalo blasts Paramount Warner Brothers merger at Senate hearing. Don't trust empty promises from billionaires. Yes. So Mark Ruffalo warned of devastating effects on film, TV, and news media if Paramount completes its takeover of Warner Brothers Discovery. Mark Ruffalo, who is among 3,000 Hollywood signatories.
Hey, you jumped to 3,000. Oh my god!
And this article is dated on, where is this? April 15th. So
this was 2 days ago.
I think like 2 days. I think. Wow.
Yeah.
So like 2 days ago, even from the previous article. So with an open letter seeking to block the deal, spoke Wednesday via video conference at a hearing called by Senator Cory Booker, D. New Jersey, the ranking member of the Senate Judiciary Subcommittee of Anglican Senate colleagues were in attendance. So we do not have to watch Citizen Kane or read 1984 to understand the concentrated oligarchy control this merger represents is a threat to free press and informed popular democracy itself. Yeah, I don't want to get too far into some of the political side of this, but still, though,
3,000. Dang.
Mark,
I thought it was just at 2,000. It jumped to 3,000. Dang. Oh my god.
Yeah, well, David Ellison also lies a lot too. So,
oh yeah, him and Gunn. I'm telling you, him and Gunn probably be good buddies, but the way they both act the same way, just in different fields. Makes you wonder what will happen should the deal get shut down. Telling you,
yeah,
Netflix is in the corner with their brooms waiting to sweep it up, bro. I'm telling you.
Oh, I cannot wait till we get there because I have with some of Ted Sarandos' recent statements, we'll get there soon enough. But just the fact that Mark Ruffalo actually took the time to, do a video conference to give his testimony, to say, this is not right, this is not good. The actor spoke out. He showed up even on video. And again, regardless of whatever issues I have with Mark Ruffalo, I commend him for doing this. I commend him for speaking out and sticking up for what he believes in. Because again, there's a lot of issues. I mean, I'm going to try to say this kind of like apolitically, kind of like, it's never a good idea when there's few media outlets. That's never a good thing because that involves, I think the more media outlets there are, the more truth there is, because you can take people who say on one side who speak out, people on the other side who speak out, and then you can kind of find your truth in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
But when you have only one side speaking out and not the other side speaking out constantly, you don't have that middle truth. So I think Mark Ruffalo has the right to be concerned. I absolutely think he is very valid to be concerned. And just, I guess, Kozy, what's some of your thoughts on some of this?
I just want to say this before I forget. I just want to point out, and I think hopefully a lot of people notice this. It's funny that a lot of there's 3,000 writers, directors, and actors who signed this open letter. But when
oh crap, you're about to cook.
As big as can you still hear me? Okay.
Yeah, go on.
I was just gonna say it's funny that you got 3,000 people who signed an open letter, but now it's like, or when it was Netflix, you didn't have that. Like you had people who were like skeptical of Netflix, right? And they said some stuff on Twitter and all that, but it wasn't as big as you got David Goyer, Denise, Yvette. You have big names in the industry who are very concerned about it, as they should, because it affects people's jobs. I don't want to say the freedom, but the chances of original IPs to be made, like all types of baggage that this is about to pick up. And I just, I just want to point that out. But yeah, I like said, regardless of how people feel about Mark Ruffalo and his like political stance and all that, I do commend him for doing this, because I like, just like with, and even though he's somebody who's has a bigger voice than everybody else in terms of like, and being an actor and all that, I always found it weird that people had a lot to say about Netflix, but when it came to Paramount, it just like people just shut up and was cool with it until it was like people started to notice, oh wait, this deal isn't really good. And it's like, why was it so quick to judge Netflix and be like, oh yeah, they're bad, they're gonna kill theaters, they're just gonna put all their stuff on streaming and this, that, and the third. And you get to Paramount, and it's like all the stuff they said about Netflix, Paramount's doing, to the point where I've seen people mention it. Avatar: The Last Airbender, or the Avatar movie, which, before it got leaked, they were gonna just put it on their platform, and it's like, you said you're gonna put this in theaters, then you just changed your mind, like, nah, we're gonna put it in theaters, we're gonna put it on our platform, and then somebody sent an email to somebody that wasn't part of your meeting or whatever, and that person leaked it. And so it's just like, okay, put SnyderVerse aside. What happens if they leaked, I don't know, the new Scary Movie, or whatever else they plan on putting out in theaters? Top Gun 3. Like I've never seen a studio do this, where they accidentally send it, regardless if it was on purpose or an accident. It ended up getting out to somebody, and they try to use it as ammo to get whatever leverage off of them, and then they ended up leaking it. And mind you, these are the people. Mind you, what happened with WB and ZSJL? They tried to put it in the Tom and Jerry movie and have it be shown early before the same day it was supposed to drop. Now, I don't know about anybody else, but that's the same vibes it's giving me, just on a different version of that.
Well, Tom and Jerry, I also was like, when they showed how Zack Snyder's Justice League was playing on Tom and Jerry before the Snyder Cut actually released. Like,
so I'm just like, you want this, like, and I'm not trying to make this all about the Snyderverse, but you take the Snyderverse over there. What happens? They just leak Ben Affleck's The Batman, or ZSJL 2 and 3, or even worse, hey, we're not going to put it in theaters, we're just going to put it on our platform and call it a day.
Exactly. So the fact is, Mark Ruffalo showed up, but who didn't show up? David Ellison. Now,
David Ellison. I'm glad we got here, because I'm gonna let you say what you need to say, but I do want to highlight Sky's comment on that.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna say it's this one's a little tricky, because on one hand, it was a family member, right? It was a family member who allegedly is the reason why he couldn't show up to this funeral, to the hearing. And that may be true, right? That, I'm not going to say that this is absolutely a lie. This absolutely could be true. On one hand, it's true, but I'm also not going to say that it's absolutely true either, because I'm just going to say, if you're going to lie, that's a perfect lie to say, because then people look like assholes for calling you a liar, because it's a family member. Here's the way I look at this. Here's my opinion. Whether or not this is true or not, in my opinion, David Ellison is obligated to show up and testify to the Senate before this deal goes through. To me, as far as I am concerned, whether or not this is true or not, David Ellison needs to show up at some point and testify to the Senate. Because the Senate, they'll make it work. Okay, they can absolutely make it work. This does feel convenient, absolutely. But whether it's true or not, to me, as far as I am concerned, he needs to show up. They need to reschedule it and then hopefully he can testify. But I'm not gonna lie, this doesn't look good. It doesn't look good that he didn't show up under oath. And if a family member did die, well, I'm sorry, my condolences then. Because again, it's not impossible that this happened. So, anyways, you wanted to highlight this comment, I believe.
Yeah. Let me preference the words, or not. It's not. I'm not gonna say anything crazy, but my opinions do not reflect anything of Batdan, or anything with his channel. This is the sole opinions of Kozy only. Okay. Now that we got that out the way, hey man, I think he capped. On look, and I'm okay looking like the asshole and being wrong. Cool. If a family member did die, hey, RIP. I'm sorry, but this smells like cap. You say this. You didn't show up to the Netflix hearing when they were called in and he was invited in. Now you have the deal. And you're being invited, and so happens a family member dies, and then you're like, I can't go. Family member died, but then you're at CinemaCon. Make that make sense? It's just, to me, it doesn't smell right. You literally were invited another time. This time you had the ball's in your court. So like, Mark Ruffalo showed up. You couldn't show up. And to what Sin's saying, I agree with what Sin said. Hey, you got some stuff they are gonna question you on, and you don't want to answer, regardless if it has to do with Paramount getting it or not. You just don't want to under oath say what you want to, like, have to answer it. So to me, it just smells like cap, because it's like, how are you able to show up to CinemaCon and you couldn't show up to a hearing, and it's a hearing for you getting WB, and you were pestering Zaslav for the longest for this, and you can't show up to a hearing because of family's death. Now, it could have happened, and then to me, you had a family member die, you went to the funeral, and then you went to CinemaCon. It's a lot of, I don't know. It just, to me, it's a lot. It doesn't add up to me. So it's like, you showed up. This is the second time you didn't show up. And then even then, if you had a family member die, why not have the hearing rescheduled?
Yes.
If it's that serious and all that, why don't you just reschedule it and then be like, all right, hey, I can't make it because a family member died. Can we reschedule it to a different day and I show up and you can ask the questions?
Yes, exactly. People aren't heartless. I know that, in big business and with senators and big celebrities, whatnot, it seems like it's a big cutthroat, ruthless. But I do think people have a heart enough to say, hey, yes, attend the funeral. We'll schedule this. And that's why I say, as far as I'm concerned, Dave Ellison should not be off the hook. In my opinion, he still is obligated to show up to some hearing to testify. If he can't do that, then as far as I'm concerned, he should not be getting Warner Brothers. It's simple as that. So I just, and I
it's
think,
not looking good. Like, you have board members. Like, I see people in the comment bringing up the vote is coming up April 23rd. This is not looking good for you. Like, you're already lying about a lot of other stuff. You're not, the shares that you told them, hey, we're gonna give you this amount of shares, and you're not even at whatever that number was. You're not at it. There's so many things you're lying about, and then you're not showing up to the hearing, you're asking for them to vote against this.
Yeah, I agree. And now, I mean, to be fair, if the funeral was only one day and it was an expected family member, some people do grieve by doing conventions. I'm not, again, I'm only, it's hard, right? It's hard because, like, I'm not, when it comes to something like funerals, it's a lot harder for me to be like, oh, you're absolutely lying. It is. I'm not going to lie. Like, that's why I'm kind of doing this stupid. I know I'm kind of doing kind of a middle ground approach with this, but that's just what I feel.
That Dan, you are doing perfectly. Let me take the brunt force of it. I'm okay. You be the middle ground. Be like, hey, I understand. Me, I smell cap. I smell cap. I don't see how you just go to a con to do a presentation for whatever movies for your thing after a funeral, and it so happens to be the person died and the funeral just so happens to be the same day as the hearing, and you could have let somebody know, hey, I'm having a funeral on this day, can we reschedule it? So that's why I'm like, this doesn't sound right, because you knew if somebody actually, okay, if somebody in his family died and you're having a funeral, you knew the day of the funeral. So why aren't you letting hey guys, let's just say it's a Tuesday, right? And and the funeral's on a Wednesday and the same day as Comic-Con, or not Comic-Con, CinemaCon. And the hearing's the same day also. Why don't you just tell them, hey, I'm having a funeral on this day, can we reschedule it? It's that simple. It's with anything. It's like me coming on the stream, right? If something came up, I'm letting you know the next day or the day before, hey, I'm not going to be able to make it because of X, Y, and Z. Can we reschedule this? Simple business. And he's supposed to be the one to get the keys from Warner Brothers and run it. No wonder Paramount is on fire right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, again, I mean, fair or not fair, this doesn't look good for David Ellison. That's just, I mean, that is the sad, harsh reality. Again, and again, this should be a delay, not a stop. As far as like I said, regardless of whether this is true or not, David Ellison has a duty to testify under oath. And he should not get out of this just because of that. So, but you know what? I think this kind of what we said, though. I think this kind of brings a point to what I've always said. So, Ted Sarandos speaks out. And, I've said this before. Before I get to the article, I want to say, I've said this before and I'll say it again. I firmly believe a big reason that Netflix backed out was because that they had a feeling that Paramount, that their deal was not going to go through. And if you are Netflix, you have two choices: pay more money or wait for the deal to fall and pay your price, or pay less money. And if you're a business, do you want to pay more money for a deal that's likely going to fall through?
Oh no. Especially for the price they're paying, and WB's already in debt. Why am I paying a lot of money to outbid somebody who's paying too much for a studio that's in debt? That like, it's like it's like trying to bid on a car and somebody's overbidding, and it's like, well, the car is already, there's a flat, the engine, something's messed up with the engine, the battery is not good, and you got to get a new battery. Why am I overpaying for something that I'm gonna have to try to clean up once I get it?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I'm glad you said that, Sin Havoc. I actually am glad you said that, because that is another theory I have about something, but hit the wrong thing. Okay, so I'm going to share this article real quick. So, Ted Sarandos, Netflix was willing to put emotions and ego aside and walk away from Warner Brothers acquisition. So Ted Sarandos acknowledged that, Ted Sarandos, CEO of Netflix, acknowledged that it was disappointing for the streamer to not win the deal for Warner Brothers Discovery streaming and studios business, but he said it built its M&A muscle, merger and acquisition, through the experience, and tested its investment discipline to have the resolve to abandon the bid. So, all know they abandoned the bid, but I want to get to what he said here. The most important benefit of this entire exercise was that we tested our investment discipline, and when the cost of the deal grew beyond the net value of our business and to our shareholders, we are willing to put emotion and ego aside and walk away, Sarandos said on Netflix's first quarter 2026 earnings interview. And doing it at this level, I think, sets up our teams to understand what's expected of them day to day. So he added, we met a bunch of great people in WBD during this process. So if there's any emotion in all of this, it was disappointing of not getting to work with those folks. We were really looking forward to that. So, as he says here, now we move forward with $2.8 billion in our pocket. So hold on a second. Yeah, here we go. So all the risk of being a broken record, I just want to remind you that we said from the beginning that the WB deal was a nice to have, not a need to have. So I really like that last thing he said. Nice to have, not need to have. That was the big difference between Netflix's approach and Ellison's approach. Ellison was like, we need Warner Brothers. If we don't get Warner Brothers, we're like, I'm not going to live. We're going to die if we don't get Warner Brothers. Whereas Netflix is like, hey, this would be nice for our business. Let's try to get it. But let's put Netflix knew Netflix was business. They made a business decision for Warner Brothers. Ellison made an ego decision for Warner Brothers. And that's what shows me right there. If the price went down, that Netflix would be interested again. Mm-hmm. If they were able to get Warner Brothers for the price that they put up for it, or even more, or it's not even more, or even less, Netflix absolutely would do this. I guess, Kozy, what's your thoughts on what Ted Sarandos said? You say that while I go get a drink of water because I'm running low.
Absolutely. Man, Ted, basically translation of Ted being like saying, yo, they're desperate, we're not. And it's I've seen people to also say like Ted and Netflix, like they just did this to, raise the price for Paramount and just to get the 2.8 billion payout. And it's like, no, they wanted the deal. It's like what he said, it's not a need. It's a nice to have, but it's not a need. But it's people are trying to blame Netflix. It's like you're blaming Netflix, but you're not looking at it was WB who was like, hey, would y'all allow us to go and entertain this deal that Paramount is raising the bid for? They went, Netflix allowed them to go entertain it. They went the deal, and because they went with the deal, they have to give them the payout. They act like Netflix was just like, oh no, WB, hey, yeah, let's raise the bid and do this, conspiracy thing of like, hey, let's act like we want it, and then when it gets to a certain price, we're gonna back off and y'all pay us. It's like, no, they wanted it. It just so happens WB was like, yeah, let's go entertain this deal from Paramount. They liked the deal so much they went with it, and because they went with it and didn't want to go with the deal with Netflix, they have to pay in the money. I don't know why people made it this weird thing of like, I don't know, this weird thing of just like, yeah, they did this to just get more money. It's like, no, like it's like, it's not like, I don't want to say that's not how it works, but like they're bidding against each other. They're not trying to work together, like, and be like, yeah, you get these IPs that could help us, and we just get the 2.8 billion. It's like, no, they can make more with the IPs they're getting from it. But neither here or there. Ted, Ted Sarandos said it, like you said it since the beginning. They've are interested. It would help them, and to me, not only would it help Netflix, but it would help the IPs that WB has. Like, put DC aside, Lord of the Rings, You got Lord of the Rings, Looney Tunes. They could probably get back the Cartoon Network stuff, cartoons and all that, and revitalize them too. Because Netflix has their animation studio. So like imagine they get Looney Tunes or any of the animated shows from Cartoon Network and they just give it to their animation studio and greenlight these love shows or the newer shows. So yeah, I always rocked out with Ted because Ted's always kept it real and kept it honest, and he's never changed up on what he said. And so I always look at them Paramount winning the bid. I always looked at it. They're smart. They were smart for not upping the bid. Like I said, why am I upping the bid and paying y'all this much for WBD when WBD is not the price that Paramount is raising it to? Exactly. No, yeah.
Yeah, we're both saying the same thing. Exactly. Exactly. That's the thing. Like, here's the thing. Like, people talk about like winning bids. It's like, here's the thing. At the end of the day, this isn't a competition, guys. I mean, like, it is a competition, but it's not a competition. At the end of the day, they're thinking long term. How can we grow our business the best way? That is what Netflix was thinking about. They thought Warner Brothers could be that way, but only for a certain amount of money. They don't want to pay an obscene amount of money for a company that's not really that worth it. Whereas Paramount, they didn't really care. And yes, exactly, Sin Havoc, exactly. So, I mean, I think absolutely Netflix was a business approach. Paramount was a desperate approach. And as disappointed as I was, I mean, I was really disappointed, especially again, as I'm never letting this one go. I am never letting this one go. The fact that this news happened while I was on vacation, never letting that go. Never letting that go. But the fact that this news happened on vacation, even though I was that upset that day for happening on my vacation even, I had huge respect for Netflix for making a business decision, not an ego decision. Because that's what it really was with David Ellison. It was ego at the end of the day. Because I said that he should focus on the assets that he had and not put himself in an obscene amount of debt just to get Warner Brothers. But, I think Netflix could have really grown and made Warner Brothers something like big. And well, yeah, I just hope this no vote actually happens. I mean, I know I'm going to vote no, but I only have like 7 publicly traded shares. I don't remember. Just it's not a lot. It's not a lot. So, I mean, I will vote no, but I don't think I'm really going to make that much of a difference. Oh, wait, yeah. I publicly admit that I do have some very small publicly traded stock in Warner Brothers. I don't remember if I have any in Netflix. It's possible I do. It's possible I don't. I don't remember. I'm not that organized, guys.
Yeah.
But because I need to clear. But I don't own enough that it actually makes a significant difference in my finances. So.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, even the no vote and then also Paramount's being investigated on this whole deal. So it's like you have 2 big things to go against it. So yeah.
So you don't think Ted Sarandos is waiting in the wings or telling the board, okay, guys, let's just pay attention to this deal. The instant it goes down. Plus, think about if you're Netflix, they probably could pay less money because now Warner Brothers will be more desperate to sell.
Mm-hmm.
No,
go ahead, because I have a point I'll add on to yours.
Or another theory, Sin Havoc brought up that they don't want Discovery Global assets. What if Paramount sells off some assets? I mean, yes, I know they would prefer to get all of Warner Brothers Discovery. I know they would. But if they want to get, but I know David Ellison would rather get something than nothing. I theorize that to make this go through, David Ellison and Zaslav might sell off some assets to Netflix. Sell Warner Brothers Pictures, HBO, DC, sell those assets off to Netflix to make the deal go through. So, anyways, go on.
To add on to your point, look at if everybody in here has Netflix, go on Netflix and look at the certain movies that's on Netflix. They had Mission Impossible. They had all the Mission Impossibles, including the, if not the newest one, the whatever the one before the newest one. They had all the Mission Impossibles on Netflix. You have they had the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie that they put out in theaters on Netflix. Like they have stuff they've already licensing to Netflix, and so it's like not saying they're already like foot in the door gonna give it to them, but it's like the signs are kind of already there of like, this doesn't work out, this is going to Netflix. Like it's to me a no-brainer.
Plus, also, I think some of those SpongeBob movies. I think one of them. I think it's the Sandy Cheeks movie. It's either Sandy Cheeks or the Plankton movie. Is a Netflix original, and you know who owns SpongeBob?
Paramount, because they own Nickelodeon.
Paramount. Yep, they own Nickelodeon because Viacom owns Nickelodeon, and Paramount owns Viacom. So Paramount owns Nickelodeon. So that's because Paramount Plus isn't worldwide. Yep.
Like I said,
so
like I told people, when people say streaming, like streamers, what do you think of? The first thing you think of is Netflix. You don't think of like Paramount Plus isn't like top 3 is Netflix, Disney Plus, and HBO Max, and then it's Amazon Prime. And then after that, maybe Paramount Plus, but even then, it's like I don't use Paramount Plus. For me, I have no reason to use it. There's nothing on there for me compared to the names I just named. So, I
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you. I mean, I get Paramount Plus when South Park is on, and then if there's a certain show, I might get it for just a month, and then I'm done with it. Whereas Netflix and Disney, I like to keep year round. Now, I will confess, when Netflix raised their prices, I did pause my Netflix subscription for a month. Shocking, right? I've told Netflix and I paused my Netflix subscription. I'm like, they raise money. I have a budget. Like Ted Sarandos, I have my own budget. So when they raise prices, I'm like, I'm just going to pause this for a month, maybe 2, and then bring it back. And then, I made up for the increase in price in my overall yearly budget. So,
can you highlight Jamar's comment real quick? That's a great point also that I forgot. Netflix has the live action Avatar series, and
the one that's based off Nickelodeon.
Yeah, you would think that would be on Paramount, right? And it's like, no, they let Netflix do a live action show on it. So it's, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for pointing that out, Mama Bear. Yeah. For those of you who don't know, Mama Bear's from Canada, so she actually can give very good insights onto certain, I feel like sometimes when we live, sometimes when we're in the United States, we don't think about certain stuff like international markets and we just assume, oh, yeah, streaming service, it's here. We forget that, oh, wait, it's not available everywhere. I forget that sometimes. I forget that HBO Max is not available everywhere because I'm in my little American bubble. I admit that. I will admit that. But
yes,
and
same.
thank you.
When I heard people talk about I was surprised because I forgot myself because I forgot people. I've seen people from Uncountry say I still haven't seen ZSJL. I'm like, what? They're like, yeah, we don't have HBO Max. I'm like, oh wait, yeah, that's right. Damn, so that I always forget too. I'm like, because I'm thinking oh yeah, no streamer, we have it here, and then everywhere else they have it. So and it's like, oh wait, no, that's not technically true. Ooh, yeah.
So exactly. So yeah, I mean that's a good point to think about. Whereas Netflix is global, so at the end of the day, Netflix is about business, Paramount's about ego. But David Ellison, he showed up to CinemaCon. I mean, hey, he may have been grieving, but don't want to make too many jokes in case it's true. Hold on, stupid ad is in the way. Stupid ad. No matter how many times they hit this X, the ad's not going away.
Mama Bear and Jamar, you're both right. That they do have the original Avatar Last Airbender series in Korra, because I remember watching the Avatar series again on Netflix. So y'all are both right. Yeah. But I'm with Mama Bear. I do care more about the Last Airbender than Korra.
So now David Ellison, he showed up, after he took the time he needed to, allegedly. He showed up to CinemaCon and he made an unexpected cameo at CinemaCon, handing the exhibitors good news. The studio is committing to a 45-day theatrical window, starting immediately in 90 days to SVOD. So, video on demand, streaming video on demand, receiving a nice round of applause from the room.
They clapped that. Oh my god! They just clapped. They clapped at something that's already should be a given. What? We're committing to 45-day with a
story to tell. The Paramount lot is alive again. So I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm more interested in that, is that David Ellison shows up and he just, excites the good news. Hey, we're 45-day theatrical window. This is happening, guys. And hold on, did he say anything about emphasize the? Okay, here's another part I wanted. Here's the other part I wanted to show. So he also says this. So stepping down, Cecil direct narrated by Tom Cruise. Ellison said he wanted to look at exhibitors directly in the eye to promise at least 30 films a year if and when the planned merger with Warner Brothers closes. You can count on our complete commitment and we'll show you we mean it, Ellison said. So I have two concerns for this. 30 days a year. One, he's lying. That's the obvious one.
Oh, yeah.
Two, he's telling the truth. But he's telling the truth is the other concern. But we're going to get quantity over quality. Because, here's an example. This is maybe a bit of an apples to oranges example, but did you ever watch the Arrowverse? Arrow, The Flash, Legends of Tomorrow?
Oh, yeah.
Have you noticed that the more shows Greg Berlanti did, the lower quality all those shows went down?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the big thing. So even if we get 30 films a year, unless you're really keeping Warner Brothers in... Oh, that's just Thunder. Okay. So whether you get Paramount and Warner Brothers separate, even if you unless you really keep those films running completely, those studios running completely independently, that's going to be a lot. That's going to be a lot on your company. You're going to get a lot of subpar films, even if you are telling the truth. But I still think you're lying, because I want to hear that under oath, and I didn't hear that under oath. So
yeah, and you're promising it to I wonder how many people and how many of the studio business people believe the whole 30 movies a year. Because you had Disney there, you had Sony, you had Neon, you had all these other studios there, and they don't put out 30 movies a year. So you expect me to believe Paramount's going to put 30 movies a year, and to Sin Havoc's point, 30 AI movies, because over there at Paramount, they sure do love their AI. That's just gonna make people not want to go watch your movies, because they're not gonna be sure. Oh, is this movie gonna have AI in it, or is it not gonna have AI in it? Is this strictly just all human people who made this, or is this, you promised 30 movies a year, so you just threw in AI to finish up whatever you need to finish up, and to your point, lower quality. Yeah.
And that's the thing. Here's the thing. I would much rather have 10 movies a year that are really good quality films than 30 films a year that are subpar. I don't want that. Here's another example I used, actually. The MCU. I know you've mentioned you're a Marvel guy. I think when the MCU was just movies and, you had the Infinity Saga, I think it was one of the greatest achievements that any superhero universe, any movie franchise has ever achieved. And I will never take that away from Kevin Feige. But after Endgame, after we'll say Far From Home because I think that's technically the end of the Infinity Saga. But anyways, once you got into the Multiverse Saga, you got all these series, all like more movies. And once you've had all this quality, it went down. Like I was not a fan of WandaVision. She-Hulk was an abomination.
You weren't a fan of WandaVision? I
Now,
like WandaVision, but yeah, Loki. I think Loki was better. Like the better.
Loki
I
was-
still think Loki's the #1 Marvel show they put out.
yeah, I can agree, but Daredevil Born Again is actually getting a pretty good contender. But we're
Yeah.
gonna get a little too off topic. But I just want to kind of
Right.
say the quality was not as consistent. It was
Mhm.
not as good, and I don't think the MCU as a brand is not as strong now because of this quality approach.
Yeah, they're
Or
more
quantity
focused on
approach.
I was about to say they're more focused on quantity than quality. So which more quantity drives down the quality, and plus I don't think they to me I feel like they didn't know what, like, after a certain amount of shows I think they didn't know where they wanted to go anyways. So I think that's what also drove down everything, which is part of the quality going down.
I'm glad you said that though, because circling back to this though, they might not know where to go. I mean, think about it. You have to get, if you don't know like what direction you want to take some of these movies in, you have to find a writer, you have to find a director, you have to get scripts. I mean, it's not like you can just snap your fingers and make a movie. This takes time. This takes production. That's why you want to have multiple studios doing stuff, because that's more movies. That's better for the consumer. See, at least with Netflix, they didn't have a theatrical studio. So, like, Warner Brothers was actually going to exist as its own entity within the Netflix umbrella. Warner
Right.
Brothers, maybe it will that first year, but it's not going to last.
Yeah. Yeah, and then people judging, and the funny thing is too, just to highlight real quick, people were judging Netflix crazy for not having theatrical run, and it's like people don't understand that Netflix was being, I use the term of like bullied out the theater, like theatrical game, so they weren't able during that time, which I think people need to start living in the now instead of just living in the past of like, oh, they don't like theatrical. And it's like, well, you got to look at why. Nobody's asking why they didn't do theatrical. They just say, oh, they don't like theatrical. Okay, why? But even then, it's like, okay, you're looking at the past and not looking at now. And even when the bid was going on and Netflix was like up, they were putting stuff in theaters, and they're still putting stuff in theaters. Like they put Frankenstein, they put the Knives Out Dead Man movie, they put out the finale for Stranger Things, and then they put the first 2 episodes of the live action One Piece season 2. So they're getting in the game. It's just people aren't looking at, well, like, especially I'm glad we're doing this today too, because you got to look at also, like, look at Disney, in my opinion, and I think Curly Ray could even, or Rebel Moon Theory could even agree to this. They're kind of throwing a fit with the whole, oh, well, we can't do IMAX, so we're doing the Infinity Vision or whatever it's called. All because IMAX is like, all right, y'all have too many screens or too many months for your movies. Let's give other studios a chance to put their movies in IMAX. And they're not appreciating that. So because of that, it's like, if they're doing that, then look at how they're, not just them, but other studios are against Netflix, including theaters, which I think now theaters are starting to, get on the train with Netflix of like, all right, yeah, let's bring your movies to theaters and work with you.
Exactly. And it just, at the end of the day, I don't trust David Ellison. It's nice that I say actions speak louder than words. I want to see Paramount start increasing their production in theaters now. I don't want to. I don't want you to just talk about it. Do what you can now. Oh, here's the way I look at this. You are, when you have Warner Brothers, you have twice as many IP. Work to get 15 movies now. And then once you have Warner Brothers, they then do 30. Something like that. Like, actions speak louder than words. I don't want to hear words. I want to see action. I say this a lot, and that's David Ellison is full of shit. And I want to hear, and you either need to do that or you need to speak under oath. Call the senator, say, hey, look, I had to attend a funeral, but I really do want to testify because this is important to me. Show us you mean business. Show us this is a good deal. Because I've said it before and I'll say it again. I have a lot of concerns besides the SnyderVerse when it comes to this. Mm-hmm. Okay? I think there's ways, again, I'm not spoiling too much because that's for other discussions, but I think there's ways we can get the SnyderVerse out, with this going through. I do think that. But the industry, this is not good for the industry. And I do not trust David Ellison, so here's the thing. With Netflix, you saw action with them, with their theater commitment, by putting Knives Out, Frankenstein, Stranger Things, K-pop Demon Hunters, the animated Stranger Things.
How do I forget K-pop? K-pop. They put it in theaters and did so well. They made a deal with AMC to re-put it in theaters. Like, I can't forget about K-pop. Yeah.
Oh no, I think he may have. I think he may have to be forced. I'm saying that he needs to be forced to testify because they need to tell him, hey, look, if you want this deal to go through, you need to testify. But see, that's the thing. Netflix was showing actions. Like, It wasn't just Ted Sarandos' words that were making us think they were committed to theaters. It was they were doing stuff to show they were committed to theaters. That's why I believed him. Not because he spoke a bunch of cute words, because he actually did stuff. Mm-hmm. Paramount has done nothing to show that they're committed to releasing more movies right now. So, well, then as far as I'm concerned, then he doesn't get it. Simple as that. Yeah. I mean, I know, I'm not stupid. I know that's not how that works, but that's how it should work. But
I also agree with Sinhavi with the 45-day window or not logic. It's not logical, like, unless the movie is on some like Avengers Doomsday, or like if it's like, unless it's some blockbuster big event, then the 45-day window works. But if it's some
like Top Gun Maverick,
yeah, like that,
we'll do a Paramount movie.
Yeah, but if it's like some, I don't know, some like regular, and I hate to like degrade movies like this, but like if it's just a regular movie being put out that doesn't meet the 45-day window because of it not doing well in theaters, like it basically, and even Ted even said it under oath, like it still would be considered a 45-day window. It's just if it doesn't do well, it'd be pulled. If it does well, it extends past the 45-day window. Like that's just how that works. Like a studio it would be smart for a studio and a theater not to keep a movie like even I was checking my local theater, and I was looking for like, okay, showtimes for like the newer movies, and they still are showing Avatar. Even if it's one showing, they're still showing Avatar. So if Avatar is being extended this long because of how good it is, that says a lot compared to,
you're talking James Cameron this time.
Yeah, like, and I'm just using that just because I was surprised. I'm like, why is this still in theaters? Like, why, even though it's one showing, why is this still in theaters, not out already? So it's, basically my point is, it's, the 45-day window isn't the same as before back then, where it's like, oh yeah, it has to meet 45 days and extends. That's right. He did say that. He did say that.
That he did. So yeah, at the end of the day, neither of us believe in David Ellison's words. He didn't show up to the court. He hasn't done nothing to show that he's actually committed to theaters. So as far as I'm concerned, it's all BS. It's all BS from him. It's all a bunch of cheap talk. So I'm praying to God that this no vote happens. I'll make my little share of vote. Wait, is it even legal that I'm confessing what I'm going to vote for publicly on a YouTube stream? It's
I don't know, but I mean, I think it's just important that you like admit to people that you own. Even if it's a small share, it's still like, hey, I have a share, and
it's all publicly traded stock. It's nothing. It's literally anything that you guys could all buy too. Nothing. I don't own anything that's like not publicly traded because I don't have that. I'm not rich, guys. I'm not rich.
I just want to add to your point. Like stuff aside, I need to be shown, like you said, with action. David Ellison has to show me, not just like with action, but also shows me he cares about this. Because right now, it just like even before, it's like he doesn't care. He just wants it just because the name WB and the potential of helping pull Paramount from the debt it's in. And I need to hear more about jobs, people's jobs, the theatrical model, these IPs that he's, if he does get it, has in his hands. Like, it can't be some like, oh yeah, we only care about the CNN and these cable stuff and not really care about the films. Like I need like with Ted. The reason I'm so pro Ted Sarandos is because he shows he cares. He actually cares, and not just doing what David Ellison's doing and just talking a big game, and then not proving of, oh yeah, I care about the movie. Like what he even said in the article. He showed up, made a surprise appearance just to tell people, hey, yeah, we're doing we're going to keep true to the 45-day window. Okay, that's very like surface level. Like that's like saying, hey, yeah, I'm gonna lower the taxes as a president, and it's like that's like cool. Like either you prove it or you're just saying that just because it's a thing. When that's the bare minimum. So that's what I should. Along from UAE, the biggest amount that I know from film company before the Weinstein company. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of money.
A lot of debt that they're gonna have. So at the end of the day, neither of us trust him, and we just have to hope and pray that they vote no. That the shareholders, the significant ones, not the ones like me who own very small publicly traded stock. I mean, the ones who actually own a massive amount of stock that actually makes a difference. Hopefully, they vote no, and Netflix can come right back in and take what they deserve, what they're gonna. Because I think Netflix would be a lot better for the industry than Paramount. So, at the end of the day, though, we just have to hope for the best. That's all we can do. We have to speak our truth, and this is our truth right now. This is how we feel. So this is what we're going to tell you. So thank you for coming on, Kozy. I really had a great time. I've enjoyed our Twitter discussions. So I'm really glad to bring this to the YouTube format, and I really hope to have you on again soon.
Man, I appreciate you for having me on, and being able to just have this dope conversation. Like this was dope. So yeah, I'm looking forward to our next discussion, regardless if it's on here, Twitter Spaces, anywhere else. I'm always looking forward to have conversations like this.
Any spaces you have coming up?
I was honestly planning to do one Saturday. I gotta see how I feel about that. But if not Saturday, I'll probably wait till Monday, if not Saturday. So yeah.
Okay, hold on. Sin Havoc is sending me a message. Is sending me a message. Let's see. And he's sending you one too. And why can't I actually see the DMs on here? I swear I hate Twitter sometimes. Yeah, Sin Havoc does this a lot, just so you know. He constantly sends you messages while you're streaming, and then right when I'm wrapping up too, and Okay, I don't know why. Let me just do this on my phone because I can find it on my phone a lot easier. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
that
oh, chat. It's not called message. It's called chat. That's why I can. So I'm just going to show real quick. Okay, I'm just going to open up the image in a new tab because I don't want to like show them all my DMs and stuff. But this is what Sin Havoc sent me. So
look, man. I like before we end this, I'm gonna reiterate what I said before. People keep like, and when I say people, specifically in the SnyderVerse fandom, people like to doubt Netflix isn't gonna restore it, but they showed proof. Hey, like they show front and center. I don't know how much clearer it could be that they want to do the SnyderVerse, and then you have something like that where you have corn sweat. You have corn sweat down at the bottom.
bottom
And
left on the right side.
Yep. And I'm just like, how are you so sure on this, but aren't sure on Netflix? That's it.
Thank you, Sin Havoc. Thank you. Exactly. So we'll have a lot of stuff coming up on this channel. I mean, as this is a very fluid situation, so there'll be lots of streams as this happens. So I'll definitely be doing a lot of coverage of this stuff. So guys, if you like this stream, please like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell for more unique takes, interesting thoughts, and fun streams such as these. And on that note, any final words, Kozy?
I'll just hit that like button before y'all dip out. Hit that like button. We're at 5. Get it to, there's 11 people in here. Get it to 11 likes. That's all I gotta say.
Hit the like button and have a bat-tastic day.